Hello, welcome to Tabletop Game Talk with me, Chris Steele. And today I'm talking about reboxing this, Marvel United, the Classic Pledge. This includes two figures that are in separate boxes, but actually they have mold positions for the Kickstarter exclusive box, which is our biggest box. It has Tales of Asgard. It has the base box, so that's this side of the stack. Let me just set this over here a moment. I'll be right back. We have, let's see, Rise of the Black Panther, Enter the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy Remix, Return of the Sinister Six, and the Infinity Gauntlet. And I am going to put all of this content that we've gone through here in one box, which is this one. This is the Kickstarter exclusives box that comes with the Kickstarter pledge. You can see here all the different figures that come along with it. And we're going to get all of this content into this box. So let's first talk about what I'm putting in the box and what I'm not. I'm not going to put any of the plastic inserts. There's fun molds that go in here, but I don't need a stack of boxes this tall to play this game. It's not that complicated of a game. At the heart, it's just a card game. I'm not going to put the miniatures in the box. There's just not enough space, but I am going to do something with the miniatures. We'll get to that at the end. And what I really am going to put in this box is everything you need to play the game, which, spoiler alert, does not involve miniatures. Obviously, the miniatures are cool, and playing the game with the miniatures is cool. But there's better ways to store the game content than having to have the miniatures all mixed in with this. This is the idea of my reboxings, is to make a game that's easy to play. So let's take a look at what we have here. I'm just going to set this aside for the moment. We'll just put that over here. Yeah, put a little bit on camera. This all the stuff. It's just all the stuff. We have villains, we have heroes, we have more villains, we have locations, rule books, villain dashboards, we have tokens. As you can see, I'm a big put stuff in baggies kind of person, but I don't do it the way that I think you would typically think of. Let's just pick a random hero here. So this here is Spider-Man. And if you notice right away, you can tell all of my cards are sleeved, but they're sleeved with what most would refer to as penny sleeves, or more specifically, inner sleeves. If you double sleeve any cards, hopefully you're not just doing that willy-nilly, but if you're familiar with Magic, you're probably familiar with double sleeving. These sleeves go first, and then you sleeve them upside down in a normal, thicker one, and it gives you that double protection, and it's almost impossible for liquids, water, dust, whatever to get inside. I don't care about double sleeving. What I do care about is not taking up a lot of space. And the reason I sleeve cards is not because I'm super anal about keeping the cards in perfect condition. I am a little bit, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is because sleeved cards are easier to shuffle, especially in small quantities, than big cards. So you just split it in half and you can smoosh them together. Split, smoosh, split, smoosh. Now, I have no problem rifle shuffling cards. This way of shuffling just doesn't work. The pile shuffle that you see, this is not a shuffle. This is a sort, and it's, mathematically we can show you why that's not a shuffle. But if you split into piles and then, smash it together, I've literally just kind of sorted them back. But anyway, when I put it like this, it makes it easier to sort. And so I sleeve pretty much any card that gets shuffled, and these get shuffled, so they get sleeved. Then I have, these are, I believe, 4x3. I'm going to put links down in the description for the types of sleeves I use and the baggies that I'm going to use for all of these. These typically have a Ziploc on top. And you can fit these in here and Ziploc them, and when I originally did this, that's exactly what I did. But the problem with the Ziploc is you have to open it and you can't take out, it's just too thick, a little bit too thick to take them out all at once. And then the sides of the cards start rubbing on the Ziploc piece. It's annoying. And even if that weren't a problem, I like being able to go through the heroes. So if I look at Spider-Man, I pull him out, I want to be able to just slide these out and be like, okay, what is he good at? He's lots of moves, moves and punches. He has basically 4 heroic symbols. What are his special actions? Punch, punch, punch. Let's see, he can rescue citizens. Great. So, and then more move tokens. So he's a move and a puncher, mover and a puncher. Great. I know that because it's really simple to take him in and out of this little pouch here. This is in replacement of like rubber bands. It's in replacement of having something organized with little dividers between them. I don't want dividers between them. They're nice in concept, but you're still rifling through. And when I pull out cards from dividers, I have to make sure I have all the cards, and then you have to sort them back in here. We'll get to why this is useful in a second. So many heroes. I'm just, as I go through this, I'm going to stack these up because you will find, and all of this stuff was boxed before I started the video, but I wanted to take everything out because it's a reboxing. It's not an unboxing. I want you to see what happens before I unbox it. Just know that everything's going back together so that it is playable as fast as possible. Now, on the back of all of these, you can tell it's either going to be a hero, and I'm going to have the hero, and because of my OCD, I have the one wild symbol is always the card that's facing up. Even when I did Spider-Man just now, where it was just almost random, I did a double check to make sure that it was the one symbol up. And basically that's so I can take a look and say easily what this is. I don't have to worry about, you know, again, it's just a compulsion. So I'm going to put all of the heroes over here. Now the heroes take up a little bit less space than the villains. You can see here where the villains have 6 extra cards. Otherwise they both have 12, and then the villain has 6 threat cards. But with the villains, again for the OCD thing, the 0 bam is the one that usually shows up on the back. And if I'm showing it this way, I don't need to recognize the images, because on the back, the image is here. I don't know, does this look like a hero or a villain? It could go either way, honestly. It's Marvel. So this just makes it easier for me to see and sort. All right, so as we're sorting this, we can see that we're almost, and this is a lot, there's a lot of villains here. And I can even kind of look here and say, oh, these are all heroes because they're all the same size. It's kind of like sorting poker chips. If you've ever stacked 5 poker chips and then, you know, put another set behind them, you slide it off, and now you have 10 poker chips. You can do the same thing with these villain cards. All right. And again, I just kind of take a quick look. All of these are heroes. That's great. Awesome. You know, Drax could be a villain. He looks like a villain, right? But he's not. He's a hero. He's a good guy. Down deep if you know, get to know him a little bit. We have more villains. So these villains are the Sinister Six. Well, 4 of the Sinister Six. And these are all more heroes. If I put the Sinister Six, let's see. This is actually, these are our Sinister Six. So I'm just going to put those all together. Here, this is the Sinister Six play mode, so it gets its own pack. But what you would do is you take the 6 of all 6 Sinister Six and the pack itself, and then put them together. So I just kind of put those together to make it easy to see where they're at. Same thing for Thanos and his gang. They're all together. And we also have the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet pack, which goes with this group here. I'm just gonna face these all the same way. There we go. More villains, more heroes. All right, and I think we're just about done. We have our Carnage villain, and these ones here are all heroes. Okay, so before I unboxed everything, and I'll do this again off camera, what I had done is actually went through and said, okay, I'm going to take these 3 heroes against this boss, and then I put them together like this and put them in the box. So if you're going through this and you want to make little packets, like play packets, that's all you really need to do. This group of cards right here is a full-on game. Boom, here I go. Now, I don't know if these heroes are going to be good against this villain. I obviously just grabbed randomly. But going through and taking a look at the villain, saying, okay, this is what I need to, take a look at the threats, take a look at the special rules, and then find, 2 to 4 heroes that are going to work good against that. You can put them in groups and set them all up to play. So that is my heroes and villains. And I'm just going to set these aside for a moment and put these here. Now, one thing you'll note, conveniently as it is, these are similar in size. Let's see if you can get a better front-on view here. Nah, well, sort of. Nah, not really. Trust me, they're similar in size. Let me see if I can pull them back a little bit and you can kind of see a better view. There we go. So we have, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 heroes, cards worth of heroes, more than the villain stack. So the next thing we have are locations. Now, these are 6-inch by 6-inch bags. I should mention that all of these are 4 mil. This is the thickness of the bag. I find that 4 mil feels much better. Typically, the different baggies that you get in games are 2 mil. So I like things that are like twice as thick. So the links in the descriptions will send you to Amazon showing you where to get these. These are, I don't want to say incredibly cheap, but for what you can, the quantity and what you can use them for, they're much, much cheaper than a designated insert. So the way this is set up is these are 6x6. These are about the size of a sandwich bag. And these are my core locations. These ones I don't, so most of my bags I put text on. These ones here I have not yet, but you can tell what they're on by just flipping them over and looking at the back. Once I start mixing and matching, I might, label these. The label's not really to tell me what's in it. I can look and see what's in it. The label is to tell me what goes back in it. These are not labeled, and I'm actually considering labeling these. I'll show you how in a second. It's not writing across the top. It's actually writing across the side, but I'll show you why we might want to do that. Our instruction books, nothing magical about that. These are all of the villain dashboards, all of them in one bag. I think this is a, let's see, a 6x8 size bag. I use these to put miniatures in oftentimes, like just bulk miniatures and stuff, but it's also good for putting player boards or villain boards in this case all in one spot. Tokens. I also happen to have, these are 4x6 bags. I don't need to use 4x6. I don't need to use a different size bags for this. I could use the 6x6. So if I didn't want to get this and this size, I could just get this size. This one here has all of the health tokens, KO tokens, and invulnerability tokens. So really anything to do with damage and health. Here we have our Thug Citizen tokens. These are our threat and crisis tokens, along with the little counter for Red Skull and other villains that require it. These are the Infinity Gauntlet gems. The Infinity Gauntlet is not going to go in this box. It's just a big bulky piece of plastic. It's cool. If I weren't playing it solo, if I wanted to show off the game, I would certainly pull it out. But for just playing it solo, I don't need it. It takes up too much space. These are all the action tokens put in here. I'm actually considering splitting these apart into separate bags, but there's only 3 of them and they're pretty easy to see, so probably not gonna worry about that. These are all of the mission cards and challenges. So there's a bunch of different challenges depending on the expansion you're working in. And then you have your 3 standard mission cards. And actually the 3 alternate win mission cards are in here too. So this is all of the alternate or the mission setup or alternate mission setup, alternate challenge cards. You need to just pull a few of these at the beginning of a game and you're good to go. Then we have our villain dashboards, 1 for the Infinity Gauntlet and 1 standard. That's all good. And the Sinister 6 dashboard. And then these are, I have them marked as scenario-based tokens, but they're also alternate gameplay modes and things like that. But all of the basically mission-specific stuff would go into this bag here. So now that everything's bagged up, this here is the entire gameplay of the game, minus one, major issue. This is a CMON game, and there's a whole bunch of miniatures that are missing that we don't see here. I'll show you what I do with those at the end, but in the meantime, this box by itself is meant to be able to be played all by itself. There's two ways that you can do this. The first way you can do this is, we'll just say that these are a sample location, is I can take this card, the one wild card, and if I decide to up the difficulty, I just take this card and it becomes the hero that moves around to the different locations. So that's one way to do that. Now, I don't like hard co-ops, I like to win. So I actually play on the easiest level right now. But that's where my miniature alternates comes into play, and that are these giant plastic meeples. Various colors, so that essentially what ends up happening is, say I play Black Widow, Ghost Rider, and Taskmaster. So Black Widow would get an orange maybe. Actually, I kind of usually look at the front here. So gray, because you're typically staring at the front. Black Widow would get black, and Taskmaster would get like a frosted white. I just kind of arbitrarily pick colors that work with the characters that match well. And if they're too close, these two are fairly close, maybe I decide, okay, I'm just going to use Iron Man instead. And then I can use a red one. Now it's easy to see the difference. These are super cheap. I get all of my extra gaming components from a site called The Game Crafter. I'll put a link in the description. And you can get these, I think they're maybe in bulk. They're like 8 cents each. But even at low quantities, they're not more than 15, 20 cents tops. Get one of each color. Voila. This is all I use when I'm playing a game. I throw these down and I'm able to play in a very small space. I can play in this amount of space. I don't have a lot of excess stuff. This box holds all of this. So let's watch it go in the box. All right, first thing we're gonna do is I'm going to put my villains on one side, and I'm just gonna keep stacking them up. I'm actually grouping the first couple by their, the Sinister Six and the Infinity Gauntlet group. And again, these are sleeved and individually baggied, and it is surprising how perfect they fit in, considering this wasn't designed for this. There you go. That's all our villains. Now, the heroes, obviously, we saw that we had more, so they're not going to fit all on the side, but that is okay, because you see that we're actually creating a well in the middle. So that fits there. And then what we're going to do is take half of these and put it here, and take the other half, put it here. And this is the nice thing about these sleeves, is in the same way shuffling sleeves is easier, inserting and pulling these out is easy because of just the way that this folds up. So now I'm going to take these small bags here, just do a quick fold over and put them, we'll do that one last since it's the biggest one. That goes there. Our Infinity Gauntlet goes here, and then shake this down a little bit so that it folds around, and that goes there. Nice flat surface. Ready for our villains, which go here, and our locations, which go there. We now have space for tokens, more tokens. We can throw our mission cards over here, and our heroes, well, our hero substitutes in the corner over there. Now we put our boards, and we put our rule books. voila. Everything I need to play Marvel United in one box. Simple, very packed in there. I normally store it flat, but as you've seen, there's really not a lot for anything to move, so I could set this up any way I wanted and it would work just fine. So what do I do with the miniatures? Good question. If you watched my last video, you know that I bought this game for the miniatures. I thought the miniatures looked awesome, and they do, but when I'm not playing the game, they just get shoved in a box, right? And that's not actually all that awesome looking. So the game here is this. If I'm playing it with somebody else, I'm certainly going to pull out the miniatures and say, okay, here, pick your miniatures, let's play the game I wanted to show off. For me, the game stands on its own. It doesn't need the miniatures to be a compelling game. However, the miniatures are cool. So, and I will put a link in the show notes for this as well. Another thing on Amazon. This is a nail polish case, not case, but shelving. Typically, you'd put nail polish in here. I actually was using this to put miniature paints for a long time. I just put all the miniature paints in here, and I got another case for my paint, so I didn't need to do that. And it occurred to me that I can actually use this for miniatures. And right now it's just red and blue. There's a few more miniatures that are yet to find a home. I'm going to get another one of these so that I can put these miniatures in there. But the idea here is now these can be on display. And having these on display is a lot cooler. Let's see if I lower this a little bit. Is a lot cooler than having them in a box. So I don't mind that my reboxing doesn't actually include any of the miniatures. The miniatures, like they represent themselves. They're their own cool thing. The game is its own cool thing. When you get to combine the two things together, that's even cooler. But this way, as a solo gamer, I can pull this off the shelf. I can play this whenever I want, and I don't have to get out the plastic. And as a painter, I can paint these and have a place to display them as they get painted. I really am going to paint them eventually. I'm sure of it. I mean, there's only, 100 of them. It won't take that long. But that's beside the point. Anyway, that's what I do with the miniatures. I also have different other acrylic cases. All my Arcadia Quest stuff is in a donut case. So it's an acrylic donut case with front doors, which kind of keeps it from getting dusty. It's another way to go. But anyway, those are my miniatures. Here is my game. Let me do that. And voila. Lighting and stuff will get better as I do more of these videos, but there you go. That's not a bad one. I've already done the thumbnail, otherwise maybe that's what I would show, but that's a spoiler alert, right? Yeah, that's my reboxing video of Marvel United. Marvel United X-Men is going to be a little trickier as there's probably another 50% more miniatures. But I think this method might still work with that, and I might be able to still get everything down into one box and just have another 2 or 3 shelves here. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, all the YouTube-y stuff. Again, this is a relaunch of this channel. This is the second video I've done on it. There's a lot of things that I plan on making better. The graphics, the sound quality, the lighting quality, all of those things are things I'll get better with over the next few days, next few weeks, over the next period. But until then, talk to you next time.